Hello physical fiends, it is Jordan here with another worth of purchase where I play a game for a short amount of time to see if I would buy it myself. Today I'm taking a look at the long-winded title of Steam Hearts and Advanced Variable Geo Saturn Tribute. It is so long because it's actually two separate games, but in the physical release they are bundled together. I'll talk more about the physical release later in the video, but links are down below in the description pinned comment if you want to order them and support me. These games were originally developed by Geiger for the PC-98, but these versions are based on the Saturn ports that happened a few years later. What got my attention about these games is that they mix solid gameplay with their respective genres, shmup and fighter, with eroge content. Yes, you know, the Japanese cartoon thing that begins with a H. Yes, that thing. I thought it was fascinating. Prior to this release on Nintendo Switch and PS5, I did break out my actual Sega Saturn and played them. Quite enjoyed them, and looked forward to the modern ports, but left being disappointed at where the world is right now, because, yeah, they censored them. Now, I should also prelude this with the fact that compared to the original PC-98 editions, the Saturn version was already censored itself. So you can't say censorship is a modern thing, it even happened back then. However, for this port it was still not deemed enough because it's been censored even more. Like the PC-98 version was full on, and you can get a sample of that if you search on Steam Hearts Wikipedia page. The Saturn version missed out on the explicit imagery, while retaining the same kind of thing. The Saturn was a bit more tacked. However, any nudity that was in the Saturn version is gone. They've completely closed the cutscenes. I am going to show you a side-by-side, but I have censored the Saturn version because I am not nuking my channel for this game, okay? I'm going to save that for a special game. But it can give you an idea of the difference, right? And it is quite large in some cutscenes, especially Steam Hearts, which was always the more raunchy of the two, at least from what I've seen. Advanced Variable Geo, I haven't seen every cutscene. Of course, there may be something more surprising within there, but from what I've played so far, the differences are a bit more subtle. It's weird to think that this is a censored version of an already censored version. And I get why they would do that, because if they didn't, it would probably be refused classification and they wouldn't be able to release it. But then again, like, what's the point? This was literally the selling point of Steam Hearts, at least. You take that away and you've got yourself a nothing too special shooter that's overly chaotic. Advanced Variable Geo serves better because it is a bit more subtle and the gameplay is solid to begin with. It comes away a little bit more unscathed. And now that I've got the censorship out of the way, let me talk about the actual games. Steam Hearts is a shmup. It's a story-heavy shmup with long cutscenes of talking between the two characters before each stage, and then after each boss battle with those eroge cutscenes that are now far more tame. The gameplay itself is, as I said, a bit chaotic. It feels carelessly designed and random. It's playable, and I did get into it. I didn't feel bored or frustrated by the gameplay, but it doesn't stand out amongst all the great shooters available on the Saturn, and of course, in the modern day. You have your main weapon as well as equipping 3 sub-weapons at once. You can dispose of these sub-weapons by using them as panic bombs, and they have their own special thing going on. It is a good mechanic in concept, but the game throws far too many of them at you all the time that it's impossible to stick with weapons that you prefer or be tactical about it, because they're just power-ups flying all over the screen alongside the patternless bullets. That means you just can't keep track. You are at the mercy of randomness, at least it feels like that. Yeah, you can enjoy it, and I did, but I think it could have been designed better to make it really awesome. The potential was there. Advanced Variable Geo, you guys know I'm not into fighting games, but actually I quite like this game a lot. It's taken me by surprise, especially for mid-90s. It's a simple enough 4-button fighter, you know, for the attacks, and there's only a handful of special moves per character, but it's easy to get into. It doesn't immediately crush your soul, it's nicely accessible, which is a relief compared to games of the era like Fatal Fury and stuff like that. This would be laughed out of Evo, but I tell you, as someone who doesn't much care for the genre, if you ask me whether I would prefer to play Street Fighter 2 or Variable Geo, I would definitely pick Variable Geo. So take that opinion as you will. The visuals are quite nice, not the best, but they work, and the music is funky as hell. It's nicely pick up and play. I actually quite liked it a lot. For both games, you can tweak the emulator visuals, but the default is spot on. You don't need to change it really. You have a save state feature, and also on Steam Heart in particular, you do get some cheats or hacks to help you out. Now, in terms of the language, all of the menus and instructions are in English. However, the storylines within the games are not. They are still in Japanese, and there are no subtitles, which is a big shame in my opinion.
あなたたちが何を企んでいるのか知らないけど、この世界中にあなたたちの逃げ場はわざわざ殺されに行くようなものよ。
関係ないことないよ。何もしなければ他のみんながいずれ死んでしまう。
I feel like if the eShop advertises English, like it does, all the games should be in English, not just parts of it, the ones that you can just get by. Playing in English was the biggest selling point for me, but it wasn't to be. It's not the end of the world since I am sure these are hardly masterpieces. Shakespeare will not be jealous of the writing. However, it is a shame for the shooter since there is a lot of dialogue, and Advanced Variable Geo does have a story mode, so it's a missed opportunity. There is no English in the story, only in the menus. I know these Saturn tribute releases have had some bad press over the years, however, this seemed perfectly fine to me, because I literally went from playing on a proper Saturn, on a CRT, straight to this modern port, and I could not notice any big difference in terms of delay and such. I'm sure there is, but nothing that I outright noticed. Now, in terms of the physical release, this does have one. However, it is only in Japan on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch. It has English in the menus, but as I already said, there's no English in the cutscenes. There is no Western physical release. Some of the Saturn tribute games have had Western physicals, so this could, but I doubt it due to the content within. I could be wrong though. If you check the links down below in the description and pinned comment, you'll see that it's coming in a standard edition as well as a special collector's edition. And this edition comes with a soundtrack CD as well as a booklet. If you want to purchase this, you can do so via the links, and that massively helps support me at the same time in the best way possible. And I do thank you from the bottom of my heart. Plus, I can support you too because you can get 5% off if you click my link and use the code Jordan2025. Would I buy this myself? No, there's no point really. I have them on my Saturn, and the extras that this package has, like the save states, the small hacks and cheats, that's not enough to, get me over the censorship. I don't like censorship, but I also don't become rabid when it does appear. I try to have a balanced outlook, but when the entire point of the game is taken out, it feels kind of pointless. If you don't have a Saturn, and you're just on the lookout for a solid enough shooter and a fun fighting game, then fine. Like, if you don't care about the naughty bits, then that's cool for you. For me, I think I'll pass. How about you? What do you think? Will you be buying this? Let me know in the comments below. If you do want to grab it yourself, then please do so via the links in the description and pinned comment. That massively helps support me in the best way possible. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. It'll do everyone a favor, do me a favor, do you a favor, and the industry a favor too, because the bigger this channel is, the more publishers will pay attention to the demand for physical media. So let's do it, guys. Subscribe and have a great day. Take care.
Go down!